today. Turns out when you're driving a lot and, you're not around other people and can have headphones in a lot, it turns out you can fucking destroy some audiobooks.
Just
it turns out.
Moving right through them.
That's how I'm getting through podcasts right now.
I mean, that's
clearly Canadian. That's what it is.
Clearly Canadian. Right.
Throw a link in our chat. Anyway, sorry, Moon.
No, you're good. Yeah, fucking Real Time is a fucking great series. And now I'm... let's see, how far did I get this morning while doing chores? Because I was listening to it, all this week while doing chores. And then finished it, book 2 last night, and then this morning started doing chores again because I had a migraine yesterday. So I ended up passing out on the couch watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
There you go.
Shockingly good show. Minus the Immortals, Unusuals, Uninterestings.
Eternals?
No, the other one.
Stranger Things?
Kamala Khan is one of them. Or was one of them.
Ah, crap.
You know what I'm talking about now.
Yeah. I would have to Google it. I don't want to go down the comic rabbit hole.
Well, one of the... Until that season. That season is the season where it's like, no, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Inhumans?
Inhumans. There it is. One of them.
Because of the whole Terrigenesis thing. AKA, let's turn into a cocoon. That was a rough season, but then they do Space Season, and Fitzsimmons are in that show, and they all like my favorite characters in that show. The 2 scientists. One's called Fitz, one's called Simmons.
Yep.
But they work together so much and so well that everyone just calls them Fitzsimmons.
It's pretty good.
It's great. One of them almost dies and has PTSD. It's fucking phenomenal show.
Excuse me. All right, you guys ready to get started?
I have one more note about Clearly Canadian, and then yes. Apparently, I was correct because I'm on their web's page. Apparently, in 2000, they lost their mass distribution, and it wasn't until 2012. I guess it looks like they had crowdfunding to get it back.
That's wild.
So that is super weird.
Huh.
Yeah, crowdfunding from 14,000 fans from 35 countries, including every state in the United States and every province in Canada. So
hey, someone wants to buy an ad on this show. Clearly Canadian.
Well, I was gonna say because they just listed as a. I guess they did with that crowdfunding. They were like, "Hey, you can pre-order a case or whatever," and there were 40,000 cases of it that were pre-ordered as soon as it went live.
People love that water, man.
I mean, it is good. It was just I didn't know if that was one of those things where in my mind, since I wasn't looking for it, I'm like, oh, I just never saw it.
Right,
and maybe in my mind I was
never carried it.
Yeah, and in my mind I was just like, it went out of business or whatever. But no, apparently it did for a little bit there.
Wow. Dang.
As someone who come from the UK, let me tell you, moving to New York was the good choice because I don't have to think about water. I've driven through parts of this country where I turn the tap on and the water smells funny. It's just like, nope, don't think I'm going to go anywhere near that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Stay away from well water.
Yep. Your immune system is not ready for it.
Oh yeah, I know, and it's really funny because I grew up in England where the water that comes out your taps has to meet a certain standard, and let me tell you, that standard is fucking high.
We don't have those in America. Don't worry about it.
Nope.
Yeah, nope. We're good.
No standards over here.
Nope.
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen who you elect president.
That's right.
Hey-oh!
Hey-oh, got him. Question mark.
Not who I elected president, but right. Yes, as a country who represents us.
That's my point.
Yeah,
I know.
All right, you guys ready?
Sure.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Let's give a quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The wasps are ones. I mean, the ones are numbers.
That's right. you probably know everything here. $5 a month. That's a recommended tier. It is fun for $5. It gets everything, anything above and beyond that. Tell your rich friends, like someone over at the Clearly Canadian Corporation. You can tell them to sponsor the show. Monthly donation over there. If you want to know where that joke comes from, check out the Outcast. It's the behind the scenes. Sure, why not? Stuff where we're talking about everything going on in our lives except for video games. It's a really, I know I'm partial, I know I'm biased, but it's a really good show each and every week, and you really should check it out, because it is either meandering or unhinged or kind of both at the same time. And we tried a new drink and cookie pairing this week, which you can probably guess what it is. But if you want the full review, check it out over there on the Outcast.
There's also usually an obligatory 5 minutes of us complaining about workloads and stuff. So
True.
Just be prepared for that.
Yeah, get ready for that. Also gets early access to We Rogue Like It and Critical Misses. Get exclusive access at the $5 tier to the Critical Misses production meeting. I think those are really interesting, very casual, kind of fly on the wall episodes, where Moon and I are kind of planning how Critical Misses goes and what our future season and future seasons will be. I think that stuff is really interesting. You also get exclusive access to The Wayward Sons, which is a supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and the Nymph are going through that comes out every other week. Check all of it and more, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones that know buzz.
All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
I got 3 games to talk about. 2 of them are pinball.
Great. I love it.
Woohoo!
The pinball wars
Start
continue.
with number 1. Yes, they do. The pinball, but the problem is the pinball wars are with myself.
That's right. The war within.
I hate you so much.
I mean, if Metal Gear has taught me anything.
That's right.
Yes.
This pinball game has an Edema soundtrack. It's great.
I hate you both so much. So we might as well start with Stern Pinball. The Ripley's table still haunts my dreams. However, I am 4 or 5 goals complete now because I finally did the wizard mode on the table.
Ooh, all right.
So I got all the way to the Lost City of Atlantis. I got a whole bunch of scores. I tripled my high score in the process of doing it.
Jeez, okay.
Nice.
But I got the wizard mode complete. Now I'll just have to score 6 super jackpots.
Okay.
Which is not easy. So
yeah,
I guess that's that to do still. I hate these achievements so much.
I'm really having a hard time finding any video gameplay of this game.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
Because it's all just, here's an actual pinball machine. It's like, yeah, that is cool. That's
maybe that's just what we have to do then.
That's right.
I mean,
look at those realistic graphics.
That's right. Well, the power of the next-gen Yeah.
The power of the PS5 Pro.
That's right. Shut the news stories. I'm already mad.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
You don't start a show with a showstopper.
No, you don't. In fact, you don't even want to talk about the showstopper anymore based on the online reactions. Anyway, I said we'll get there. Pinball FX achievements are mostly fun. Do this mode, do this thing, do that. 1 achievement per table. Yay! Except for the fact that it has the same base achievements for the free table that this thing does, where it's like beat the wizard mode with everything successfully. Now go. And
go and suffer.
Suffer is correct, because oh boy, am I suffering with this. I don't know. It's fun. I genuinely enjoy the time that I'm playing it, but then it's like you have no idea how much my heart was in my throat when I did the wizard mode achievement thing goal, because I got all the way up to 2 letters left, and I was like, okay, I'm on ball 2, and I've got an extra ball, so that gives me at least 2 more balls to do it. And then as soon as I thought that, I drained it.
Of course.
And then as soon as I launched the ball again, I drained it again. So then I'm on ball 3 with no extra balls, with 2 letters to go. And then I hit it in the bozo, the mind-reading dog thing, and I get a letter for free, and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, it's one more. I
Is it
only need to
happening?
do one more. One more. And my heart jumps to my throat, and my fingers are not pulling correctly, and it's just like, I'm in so much trouble.
I got the
And then I
yips.
did it, and I got the goal complete.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Now I only want to go, and then I got annoyed. And I didn't have time, so
Getting there.
would say. Yeah, again, one table down, 5 to go, apparently,
Yeah.
Boston. Like,
Progress.
if it takes me 2 months at each table, this is only, going to take me a little while.
Well, I'm it's not in my list of games here, but I'm in the doldrums for that as well with a little to the left where I'm trying to do
The 100 days.
no, the 30 consecutive days of tidies, and I'm at like 90% of the trophy, and I'm like, I can't forget. I have to do it every day. I'm so close. If I break it at this point, I'm gonna be so angry. I need to do it every single day. I want to die.
I ended up setting a reminder for myself because I did
Yeah,
20
set an
days
alarm.
and then forgot,
Oh no.
and then had to go back and redo it. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going for the 100 anyway, so I might as well just
Yeah.
set myself a reminder and do it every day.
I've been doing it as soon as I finish my workout every morning. I sit down, I go do that, and then I do the rest of my day.
Yep, I would come home, get changed, do that, and then leave. Like, don't. I'm done. I'm good. I'm good. I've done the thing I needed to do.
Yeah.
The other pinball game I'll be playing is Sonic Spinball
Oh, okay.
because it's in that stupid Sega Genesis collection, and I can't move on to the next game until I complete this game's achievement.
What do you have to do for this one?
Collect all 3 Chaos Emeralds in the first level, aka
okay.
beat the first level. Sonic Spinball's not an easy game.
No.
Sonic Spinball is not really a fun game.
Also correct.
Sonic Spinball does not have good physics,
Also correct.
but Sonic Spinball is still ridiculously charming.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about the game, but I loved it as a kid.
And I'm not gonna lie, being able to put some English on Sonic is genuinely helpful.
That's true.
And don't get me wrong, he doesn't have a monocle and a pipe, and he doesn't like solve crimes or anything. He's
Sadly.
just he's just moving with different directions a little bit easier. I mean, the thing that helps with old pinball tables is knowing the table. Like,
Right.
that's the thing. The problem is Sonic Spinball is like 5 tables all connected with a bunch of different ramps, and you have to figure out how to get the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah. And they're all kind of like, I don't want to say hidden off on the sides because that's not the right word, but they're kind of like tucked away in weird
It's like
spots.
a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to try and find the right path, and then hopefully hit the right path and do the right thing to make it to where you need to go. Except that's not very easy, usually, if I'm completely honest. I don't know. It is a dumb, stupid game that the short amount of time I played it for this week was pretty fun, / hard and charming and difficult. And I don't know. It's a difficult game to understand conceptually.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to beating it so I can move on to Space Harrier. And then when I move on from Space Harrier, I get to play Streets of Rage, which
Yeah.
the achievement for Streets of Rage is beat the game without continuing, by the by.
Oh, well, that's
Nice.
all right. That's a little challenging.
Let's see if I can remember all of my grabs and flips and flip-de-doos
Yeah.
for that game. But no, Sonic Spinball. It is what it is. Hopefully I will have beaten it by some point next week. Fingers crossed, if I get the time to actually sit down and play. My final game this week is Big Boy Simulator 2024.
Huh?
Just
Space
type it in,
Marine
Boston,
2.
pull it up.
Space Marine 2.
Oh, I wanted to pick that up this week.
I forgot that.
So the
came
good
out.
news is it's a 3-player co-op game.
Oh, nice.
The good news is Rob and myself have agreed to not touch the big boys unless we're around each other.
Okay.
So, Nimb, if you want to jump in and play the game, just beat the first mission and you'll be right exactly to the same point we're at.
Is it? Do you know? Is it cross-platform play?
Crossplay is enabled in the game.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
I would check your platform of choice just to be safe in case you decide to play it on the
I'll double
PlayStation.
check. I don't have an issue buying it on Xbox. I'm assuming you guys are both playing it on Xbox.
Yes.
I don't have an issue doing that. It's just my wife and I are still fighting over who gets to play the Xbox, which is why I bought a Portal.
I will say big thank you to Rob for buying this for me, because I would not have bought it myself until it went on deep discount. He was looking at you 115 game long wish list on Xbox, I found out today. And it's kind of Dark Soulsy, dude.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Like, it has a counter and a parry system, and like unblockable attacks that you have to dodge. It has if you do a successful parry, it's really cool because you can parry them, and then it gives them a little like crosshairs on them, and you do a gun strike. So you just pull out your big old gun and shoot them in the face, and it does like AOE damage.
Oh wow!
So it's like this weird combination of like Dark Souls combined with like God of War, because you're a big meathead in a spacesuit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're a space marine, so you know. It's very
Just slap at
interesting.
me. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I was talking with Rob about this while we were doing the tutorial, which is single player. I have a cursory knowledge of Warhammer lore.
Sure.
Not a lot, a little bit.
Just from being on the internet.
Yeah, just general knowledge kind of thing. And I'm not going to say anything about the story of this game, because I don't want to. And I don't really know a whole lot, because I did not play Space Marine 1. Like everybody else, I didn't play Space Marine 1.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to go and watch a YouTube video of Space Marine 1, though. At least the story, because this game starts with the Death Watch.
I heard that this pretty much leapt off from the first game.
Interesting.
Not like one-to-one, but...
That's what I understand, too. Kind of. If 100 years is right after, which for Space Marines it kind of actually is.
Yeah,
right
I
after.
was gonna say,
they can live up to 1,000 years, so...
So, to you it was a Tuesday. To
That's
me
right.
it was 100 years later, kind of thing.
Does this mean we need to try to figure out how to play a 360 game now?
I'm just going to watch a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to go back and play that, because I know that Rob is going to want to play this faster than I normally play things at this current moment in time. So I'm trying to carve out time each weekend, essentially, to at least do a mission or two. So right now, we're literally a mission in. We did the tutorial. We did the first mission, which is when you can do co-op for the first time. It is interesting. It feels meaty. Like, there's some aspects of it which do feel a little bit loose, but there's a lot which is like a super meaty feel when you're doing stuff. Like, anytime one of the bolt guns fire, be it the pistol or the rifle or the various other pistols or rifles that you can get, it feels like a bolt gun's getting fired. Like, it feels nice and big and heavy. There are bajillions of different animations for countering and parrying, and there's a lot of red in this game, I will say.
Yeah. Watching the footage, yeah.
It's not afraid to be brutal, stay brutal, and rubber in your face how brutal it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just got on board. Your home base in this, essentially, is a battle barge. So it's like, yep, okay.
Great.
Let's go. Like, this is what I want. And the best part is you're still meeting regular humans all over the place. So you stand like a 20-foot monster next to these regular-sized people.
Right.
It looks gorgeous. It plays fine so far. I don't know if variety and that kind of thing is going to come into it a bit down the line. But so far, it plays well. It plays fun. It's got a Doom-esque kind of build to it, where it's like, if you do one type of defensive action, you get health back. If you do a different type of defensive action, you get armor back. And then if you do different types of offensive action, you regain that stuff too. So like, you could take some hits, and you will take some hits, because there's a bajillion of the Tyranids so far around, and it's like, okay.
You're a space marine, man. You're not meant to dodge stuff. You're meant to take it head on.
Walk through it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's really
what, like,
that's really interesting. That's kind of the the lasting legacy of Doom Eternal is that kind of like use this weapon to get health, use that weapon to do finishers to get armor, use this one to get ammo. Like that's I'm seeing that more and more now that people have kind of settled into digesting Doom Eternal, and I think that's interesting.
Like parries regain your armor and like executions regain your health, and you get the chance to do them both very frequently. Because there is so many enemies all around, and because you are a space marine, and there's so many big boys to fight and little boys, and sometimes you just want to shoot a bunch of people with your bolt gun and go plah, 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 and it's really satisfying sounding. And when you sprint, there is the lightest vibration in the controller every step you make.
That's
like,
great.
Doof, 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 are you the RoboCop now?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, except this one can move.
That's right.
There are varying ways to sashay through the battlefield. There we go. For some reason, that was a hard word to get out.
True. Like I said, I've only done one mission so far. I need to go back and watch a lore video because I explained to Rob what I think was happening. It seems to tie in nicely with what the cutscenes are saying at the same time. It's like, I think this is correct. But I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I need to go watch that. The movie videos that everyone places like Mortal Kombat 1, the movie, and it's like just all of the cutscenes from the game. Yeah. I need to do that, but for this,
sure.
The game looks great though.
Yeah.
Credit where it's due. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's from that studio that recently de-embraced themselves, which I'm happy to see too.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember the name or the publishing arm, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember here. Does it say
started with an S, didn't it?
Saber Interactive.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. Published by Focus Entertainment. Interesting. Good for them.
And I'm only aware of that because there is some potential weirdness about it was made in St. Petersburg, Russia, not Florida, and some people have issues with the Russian connection, but there's nothing besides them being in Russia. There's nothing showing that there's anything weird.
Oh, okay.
There, I don't know how hard anyone's looked either. So
Yeah, I mean it's also a game about a bunch of fascists. So if it was going to be made there, it would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it looks great. I'm looking forward to playing more. Fingers crossed, I'll do more than one mission a week. And like I said, Rob even said this to me earlier while we were playing it this morning. He was like, well, hopefully if Nimp wants to play it, we can get him in, because I know he's interested in it like a giant nerd.
Looking at what points I can cash in for what gift cards at what store.
Doing the gift card math. Love it.
But yeah, it looks great. It plays fine and fun, and watching Rob die over and over again was hilarious. That's all I've been playing.
Okay. This week for me, it's going to be fairly short. I did play RoboCop, and I did beat RoboCop.
Nice.
And I also got the platinum.
Now.
Dang, nice.
So the gun range is a lot easier if you just wait to towards the end of the game, because the PCB Omni circuit boards that you get for your Auto 9. So your Auto 9 has infinite ammo. The only thing preventing you from just holding down the trigger and it spraying constantly is that you have to reload once you get to the end of the magazine. And the PCBs can increase the magazine size as well as damage and all this other stuff. But once you get to the version 5 PCB boards, at least the two that I have, I don't know how many different versions, because throughout this game there's like, here's the 2.3, 2.4, and then the one that I was using was the 4.3 until I think I was using the 5.2 version. That one has a thing on there called Auto Loader.
Oh.
And what that means is you no longer have to reload. So you just hold the trigger down. And this board that I had in particular, it does have a full auto node that you can do. However, to be able to get to that full auto, there's a negative 50% node that's in between that's going to get powered no matter what.
Oh, sure.
but I have my fire rate set so high with it on full auto. It doesn't matter that I'm doing 50% less than what I could be doing. It's just damage at this point.
Right.
So, the final boss fight, I have it upgraded so that there's no blowback on it either. There's no muzzle launch, anything.
Oh, wow.
It's just laser point shooting.
Just dumping.
And the final boss has a weak point, and I was just homed in on that weak point and just watching that health bar just go down.
Nice.
And it was the most satisfying feel ever. So yeah, once you get that, and then you go back to the shoot range, you don't even have to try to aim. You just keep going left and right, left and right.
Nice.
And
that's great.
Without trying, I got up to 365.
There you go.
So I'm not as mad about the guy last week getting up to 408 or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
I was like, how the hell? No, I now know how they did it. So it's fun. My buddy and I, my friend that told me about this game, we were both texting back and forth, and the entire time it just feels like you're playing lore accurate in the RoboCop, universe.
Mm-hmm.
Autosaving is still the issue. Some of the sounding is still an issue. The aiming is still kind of an issue. Whatever. But like the story that you have in here, just walking around and feeling like and hearing like you being RoboCop was just a ton of fun. It felt like you were playing an 80s movie, and it felt a lot more like that when I got this thing on full auto, and it was like, oh yeah, this is every 80s movie ever. Where it's like I don't even have to reload anymore. This is just the way it was meant to be. I did pretty much max out all the stats except for I think there was 3 of them. And there is a new game plus for this game.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to, you can go back in and replay if you missed any of the trophies or achievements or anything like that. From my understanding, a lot of people saying that there was possibly a level select too once you do New Game Plus. Or maybe it's after you beat the game, something pops up. I didn't look into it because, like I said, I had already gotten it. But it was just a fun game to just romp around in and blow random stuff up. So
nice.
RoboCop Rogue City, I highly encourage you. It's like a $40 game.
Yeah.
And it's available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So go check it out if RoboCop is your thing. Go get the movies, rewatch the movies. You can probably skip 3 because I remembered when I got the trilogy, I was like, why is 3 PG-13? And then I remembered, oh, that's right. That's the one with the kid.
Right.
And the kid's not bad.
And the jetpack.
Yeah, the jetpack wasn't bad either, but it was obviously the 80s thing of, okay, yeah, this is the weaker one because it should have been R.
Right.
But my next 2 games that I played are going to be kind of short because PowerWash Simulator, I did finish cleaning the Ferris wheel.
Okay.
So I moved on to the next one, which is just the subway.
Oh,
it's a subway platform and the rails and everything. And the achievement for this one was there are 8 advertisement boards. You just need to clear those. And I did. And I got the achievement. So now I'm just going through and cleaning everything.
I kind of liked and hated this level because it's not hard to clean. It's just so huge.
A lot of it, yeah. And that was kind of my thought too. I'm like, oh my god, this is another huge level. And there's nothing. I did notice that because I'd been using the green nozzle for the most part because it's got the wider spread, and so I can cover more area. And I have noticed that this is the first level since getting the professional washer handle that it's like, okay, the green nozzle isn't getting everything in one stroke. I have to slow down a lot more now to clean everything in one stroke, or switch down to the yellow nozzle, which is the narrower focused beam.
I think I usually use green. A lot of people are like, I only use the white one. It's like, that's crazy. That doesn't do anything. You
have a problem.
Like I don't
White
use the red
great.
one. Like that's the laser. I don't use that one. I think I use the yellow mostly.
White is great if you have like a speck of dust in a far off spot because it does the wobble.
Yeah.
So it's like you just aim in the direction and eventually it's going to hit that pixel.
Yeah.
And then you're good. Yeah, that's crazy that people use just the white. What is wrong with you?
That's reading that. I was like, that's you
I did
police should
that
come to your
once, just walking up a thing, and I just made like a curly Q all the way up a driveway just for the fun of it, you know? You could not pay me to do that. I think I would lose my mind.
Yeah, I think I usually use the yellow one because it's like the tighter spread.
Yeah.
But it washes harder.
You want to say the white? Oh wait, hang on. Are we talking about the white, like the super wide one, or are we talking about the white one that does the wobble?
Wide one. Yeah,
oh, okay. I was thinking the one that does the wobble, which is basically the red one, but it wobbles. That's why I was like, that's crazy.
That one's also crazy. But the number of people that are like, I only use the white one. I'm like, it doesn't do it. It doesn't clean anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say the white one. Okay, that's better than what I was thinking. Right. But exactly, the white one never does anything. Like you have to sit on a stain for a while before it goes away.
An inch away from it, and it's like, well, that's just defeating the purpose.
You just put like the extra long on there, and you just go. So that's what I'm doing right now. I did find out, and the game probably said this earlier. I just hadn't really been paying attention to much of the background story. I'm aware that things are happening, but I'm not, because I play this so off and on, I'm not keeping with everything.
Of the to-dos around Muckington.
Yeah. The advertisements are all set for 1984.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're in August of 1984. I know that now. That's weird because I figured looking at everything, this doesn't look 80s. Like even the van that you have doesn't look 80s.
I couldn't remember if it was... I think they talk about it in this level at some point. I can't remember if it takes place in the 80s or this subway station had been closed down since the 80s. But
maybe.
I don't remember. But I feel like one of the text messages... So if anyone hasn't played this, essentially every 25% you complete in a level, you get a text message.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just sort of like, you're doing a great job. Oh, whoa, the raccoon got loose at the mayor's house. Oh, no. But every once in a while, it'll actually hit you some genuine story stuff. Or like
a volcano.
The house that's a shoe, and that kid kept texting you about, like, butts. It's like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Thanks,
but it does... one of the advertisements does specifically have the Helter Skelter, which is a thing that you clean.
Oh, right.
And it does call out the park and it being available from like August 20th to August, 28th or something like that.
That's true.
So that's why I'm like, maybe this takes place in 84. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of weird, I would say at this point, kind of supernatural stuff being alluded to. Yeah. So it wouldn't throw me off to find out, this has been taking place in 84 and you have the technology of now.
Right,
even have the cell phone and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like some weird thing, but whatever. I mean, we already cleaned like a jet airliner or a jet plane that had anti-gravity units and a laser cannon.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, didn't you also travel dimensions and clean Final Fantasy stuff up?
That's right.
I mean, there is the Warhammer DLC in here too. So
Warhammer DLC is pretty good.
Is this secretly Doctor Who cleans?
Oh man, that'd be great. Yeah, why isn't there a Doctor Who DLC? The next one they announced was Shrek. I don't want that. I want Doctor Who.
They did announce Shrek. That's right.
Which is sort of like,
but the Alice in Wonderland one's just as weird. Like, where'd that come from?
I feel like it's kind of like Vampire Survivors, where it's like, yeah, sure, okay, yeah, go crazy, whatever, just put whatever you want in here.
Wrong franchise. It's Dead by Daylight, dude.
No, I was thinking about Vampire Survivors, where it's just like, Contra, Among Us.
I know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight too. Like Dead by Daylight. Nick Cage as a survivor and a killer. Sure, why not?
Yeah, that's Xenomorph, true.
You have Adam. Freddy Krueger.
They have been getting stranger.
Well, I would love to get like Cleanup Crew DLC. Like I know they came up with like some of those like Gary mod kind of things,
right?
And that one, I forget what game it was. Was it Shadow Warrior on Steam, where it's like you could go back through after you clear out a level and clean it up, like Power something. But
also, big shout out to whoever announced that spray painting game this past week that basically looks like the inverse of this. That's pretty cool. I'll check that out.
You make the mess.
Yeah, exactly.
But
dude, I wouldn't give for another Mark Echo's Getting Up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, why not?
That's the DLC.
And my last game this week is just Vampire Survivors.
Ditto.
This has kind of just weirdly turn into my meditation game.
Yeah.
And I mean that
Yeah.
sincerely. Like, I zone out so hard that I'm like, oh, I'm at the 15-minute marker.
That's right. Oh, I'm
And the last
evolving
I looked,
stuff.
I was at the 2-minute marker. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's just like one of those, I've just zoned out. I still don't have the platinum. I know Boston went full on fanboy this week.
I got the well, like I did get the platinum this week. I'm nowhere close to getting all the trophies, to be clear. I think I still have like 60 trophies left or something.
I don't know where I'm at on. I think I'm at 107, maybe 112 now.
Yeah.
Because I just did a bunch of stuff today too.
A lot of mine are like I'm double and tripling up, where it's like, oh, if I need to last 15 minutes with this character, I'll at least try to evolve their weapon and maybe unlock something in one of the levels I don't have anything unlocked in. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to play the dairy factory again and just zone out for 30 minutes. I did play the first level for the Contra DLC. That level is wild. It is
It's super weird.
I also wasn't expecting it to have a very creative boss battle at the end of it as well.
Yep.
I'm not going to spoil that for anybody if you haven't seen it, because that was genuinely surprising. But that was a cool level that also managed to, how do I describe it? It's still the kind of 2D top-down that Vampire Survivors is, but they managed to
some
build
background stuff in there too.
Yeah, there's like some 3D background depth to that level that I was kind of surprised about, because up until now it's just, yeah, here's a 2D plane. If it's not a stage that repeats endlessly, then, you know, you have a map and it has some features and stuff, but nothing more kind of in-depth than that. So that was it's a cool level. I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of what that DLC has to offer, so we'll get there at some point. But
it's got a lot of interesting weapons in there too.
Yeah, and a ton of characters too. So
yeah,
I haven't even done any of the adventures, so like there's still so much.
I haven't even started. I didn't even start that stuff on the Xbox version yet. I just have it unlocked and ready to go. But yeah, I'm still bossing around. I really wish I had Sigma at this point, but I think I'm almost there. I think I'm at like 80% for the collection.
Okay.
The original collection that I need to unlock her, but I'm having issues with the laboratory level, the challenge level, because it's a 20-minute challenge level instead of a 30, and it's like I do fine until I get to like 1950, and then it sends like hordes of the big stuff at me, and I just can't do anything to them.
That level is really hard.
The last time I ran it, I got to 1954. I was like, come on, 6 more seconds.
The only level I can't beat so far is room 1665, whatever that one is called.
Oh, yeah.
That level is ridiculously hard. I don't know what I am doing or not doing. I'm assuming it's like an end game level or something. I'll make it a couple minutes in that level, and I will just get destroyed. So it's wild.
Even the bone zone is giving me issues right now. Yeah. Like I just have to beat the ball so I can unlock the magic scroll.
That ball is so hard.
And I remember it being hard, but it's like I'm at a point where it's like I can do the limit breaking now.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, there's basically a boulder of bones that's just going from left to right on the bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's on screen, it will start to absorb the enemies on screen, and it will get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point that it won't even fit on your screen anymore.
It is comically huge.
Yeah, to the point that even the pixels are so huge that they're like stretched across, and it's hilarious. But the thing is, every time it absorbs an enemy, it regains health, and you don't have a health bar that you can see it, but it's constantly throwing bone enemies at you the entire time. So it's getting constantly re-healed and getting bigger, and you're trying to mitigate the damage. So the best strategy is to try to get whatever build you normally run, get everything evolved, and then go hunt down the boulder, because it won't absorb stuff unless it's on your screen. So you can let it run back and forth with no issues. And I've done that, But then I start running into it's like Green Death just randomly shows up and
Drives
starts
me
following
crazy.
me. And I was like,
Yep.
come on, man, you can't
Leave
damage
me
it right
alone,
now.
bro.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
And it's faster than Poe right now. So
Yep.
I was like, oh my god, come on, because my Poe isn't. I don't have enough not green. I don't have enough golden eggs in Poe, so I can get that 0.04%, movement speed
right,
and stuff in
your
there.
wings got upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now it's like that level is just being a super pain. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I just need this so I can get that unlocked, so I can finish unlocking a whole other tier of things right
Yeah.
now. But I did eventually get Yellow Sign. That was the thing I was trying to remember
Oh,
last
Yellow
week.
Sign, right.
Yeah. It's like I know it's Yellow something. I couldn't think of it. But yeah, that whole thing, getting that for the first time, and even now, is still stupid funny, where it just
wild.
breaks the game and you're like, what's going on?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, Vampire Survivors, it's
so
just
good.
I keep saying it's a great shut off your mind game and play, because
Yep.
it is, because that's apparently what I've been doing, where I'm so out of it playing it that I don't need to really be there anymore.
It's great. It's like that's my highest recommendation I can give it is it'll chill you out.
Yeah, the only complaint I have ever had with this game is, why can enemies pass through trees and I can't?
That's right.
That's it.
Yep.
I do kind of wish it was shorter, because there was a moment where I was like, man, I wish Spirit Hunters released some more, because I could really go for 15-minute chunks right now
I'm really curious to see what that team's going to do next.
Yeah.
It'll be cool, I bet.
That's all I've been playing this week.
All right, other than Vampire Survivors, I've been playing Destiny 2 Episode 1 Act 3 is now over. So the final story stuff got released this week. It's a bummer that kind of fell flatter than I was expecting it to. I don't know what my expectations were going into it, because I think part of what Bungie is trying to do now is sort of start building up. Now that we've taken care of the Witness at the end of the final shape, you have to start building up some villains at this point. Like there needs to be kind of the next era of Destiny needs to kind of start after the Light and Dark stuff finished. So I don't know. Maybe I was incorrectly expecting that there'd be some clear resolution at the end of this, but there wasn't really. I don't mind it that much, but the Destiny community is dwindling, which happens normally at the end of before it was seasons, now it's episodes, soon will be major updates. But that kind of ebb and flow is normal. But coming off of Final Shape, I was hoping there'd be something really strong to kind of urge people to stick with Destiny from a story perspective of, like, all right, now here's the cool breadcrumbs leading to the next big thing. And that didn't really happen. Like, as much as I love the, like, Saint 14 and Osiris are in love storyline stuff, I think it's great. I love seeing more representation of that in big popular games like this that is very clear. It's not like these two guys are just very close friends. It's like, no, they have been dating or married for a very, very long time.
Oh, wow, I didn't even know there was I didn't even know those two knew each other existed.
Yeah, like,
because they're just seasonal characters that just pop in.
Yeah, and like if you don't play too much of the seasonal stuff, I think that in the main game, Osiris isn't really like too big of a character, but he's big in a lot of the seasonal stuff. But I think we've had so many seasons at this point with Osiris and Saint that at this point I'm kind of like, okay, we need to see. There are so many other cool characters in this game that we haven't seen any, quote unquote screen time for, that I would like to see more of them kind of come to the forefront. But
yeah,
a little bit. Episode 2 will start. That one looks pretty interesting. Looks kind of like a witchy sort of thing. So I'm curious to see what that's going to bring. So it's been interesting. The 10th anniversary stuff that launched this week has largely been a mess, in a way that is a real bummer for a celebration. I think the Bungie 30th anniversary stuff from a couple of years ago was really cool. They had a brand new activity. They had a title that had a ton of stuff to do in it. This one, there wasn't really anything new. There's a new armor set that's based on the Destiny 1 concept art, which is cool, and you get it for free, and it looks pretty cool. But then the title only has like 6 things to do, and 5 of them are like incredibly mindlessly easy, and one of them is the worst grind we've gotten in Destiny 2 and Destiny 1 history, which is bad. And then sort of dovetailing off of this, Bungie came out and started talking about the future of Destiny 2 this past week, which it has been interesting because I think it's nice to see Bungie very bluntly identify the issues with Destiny 2. One of they released like 6 articles or something this week. One of them was basically like, hey, it feels like you need a PhD to figure out what you're going to play in Destiny any given playtime or any given week. And it's made way worse if you don't play it every single week for the last 10 years. And I was like, dang, yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And they have a lot of kind of lofty goals. They're like, we want to turn storyline expansions into more Metroidvania things and non-linear storytelling and stuff. It's like, sure, I mean, those are all problems, but
like more like jumping around platforming Metrovania
no,
kind
more
of things,
like
or
I think they have identified an issue that they are correct in identifying, that you pick up an expansion for Destiny, you follow the same mission 1, mission 2, mission 3, mission 8, yay, we're done.
Yeah.
It goes in that same order. So there's nothing kind of exciting about that, and they're trying to say, like, what we want missions to do is you get a new planet or whatever. You're dumped on this planet, and you maybe do an intro mission, and then 4 or 5 missions open up. You do maybe mission 4 or whatever you want. You do that. Okay, cool. That one leads to a secret over here. You do this other mission that leads to something else, and you can kind of do them all out of order and do whatever interests you more than, to start exploring this area, you need to finish all 8 story missions and stuff like that. So, like, that sounds good. And they're making a lot of stuff free now, which is also really good. Like, their seasonal equivalents will be free, and there will be 2 kind of large/medium expansions that are happening every year. And that all sounds great. But at this point, after this long, like, the proof really is in the pudding. Even, that's not how that saying goes, I know. But, like, that's really... That stuff sounds great on paper, but you really have to get it right this time, because even the most diehard fans are all kind of leaving.
Didn't they also, like, literally lay off a bunch of narrative teams?
Yeah, which is incredibly concerning. Because, it's been one of those things of, like, you laid off QA, which you shouldn't be doing. You laid off most of your narrative team, which has been a feather in your cap. You laid off almost all of their music team, which has also been the other feather in their cap. So it's sort of like, cool.
And now you want to talk about how we're changing up narrative,
right?
And we're gonna make it this cool new style. It's like, with who?
Yeah, like, you laid off a lot of people. So I don't know. I'm as always with Bungie, I'm cautiously optimistic when it comes to Destiny. I do think they really do have the best intentions in mind for Destiny, but their execution consistently just misses the mark. Sometimes it wildly misses the mark, and that's understandable, but, like, the majority of the time it's just like, yeah, you guys got 90% of the way there, and the last 10% that you missed is just super annoying stuff that should have been handled. So, sure, all this stuff is great on paper, but like, how is that going to keep people engaged, and how is that going to keep, they said like, hey man, starting Destiny 2 is almost impossible. It's like, yep. What are you gonna do about that? And they're like, that you can fix that. That will go a long way to getting people into Destiny and keeping them around. But that's a huge mountain to climb for a game that removed the majority of its own storyline and has no intentions in putting it back. So like,
it removed it in the opinion that it was going to make it easier to figure out what you needed to do in Destiny 2,
right.
And it's kind of done the exact opposite.
Right. Because
even now, when I jumped back in to help my son with that dual Destiny mission, like I knew that they pulled stuff out, but it was super weird looking at that map and being like, "Whoa, where did all these planets go? And what's all this other crap?"
And like the majority of the stuff that is the problem for getting new players in that game is there's just no tutorial. Like there's the New Light experience from forever ago. That's just not enough. It doesn't cover nearly enough or stuff that is recent enough for you to say like, just go play through this solo and the game will get you where you need to go. So
that was something I was finding with some of the quests that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Where it wasn't telling me exactly where I needed to be.
Yeah.
Like it just said, "Hey, go do this quest." Cool.
Yeah.
Where do I find that quest? Like I don't necessarily need like the idiot line for this game.
Right.
But it's like, okay, there's 8 destinations for me to go to.
Right.
Which one of those has this one icon I'm looking for?
And the thing that drives me bonkers about Destiny is with the final shape they introduced a thing in quests where you hit it's like you're looking at a quest and you hit, I think, triangle, and it will just bring you to where you need to go to do that quest. But that needs to be like a flashing thing of like, push this button to launch this quest, because it shouldn't matter where it is. You're just like, oh, this quest sounds cool, let me go do that. And it just, your spaceship brings you through space to wherever it is. Like, it should just do that. But
well, even figuring out like the fire team crap.
Yeah.
Like, I was specifically trying to do one mission that I didn't want to do by myself. So I was like, oh, let me go check out the fire team thing.
Oh, fire team finder, I think it's called?
Yeah, but then I had to figure out, it's because it has it all laid out. It's got everything broken down by type, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I had to keep backing out of menus and stuff and going into other menus. Like, okay, wait a minute. What kind of thing is this that I'm trying to do? Oh, it's a dungeon. Let's go back to dungeon.
Yeah,
okay,
you want to hear
who
why also
is
has
it not
to
here?
do that? This dude. Like, the number of times where I'm like, oh, of course it's a Vanguard thing. Oh, no, it's a seasonal thing. Wait, which season is... Yeah. It's such a cool system that works really well, but like...
Yeah, that was why I couldn't find it, was because it was a seasonal dungeon, but it's not listed in dungeons. I had to go to seasonal and find it under there. It's just... When it works, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it worked the 2 times I used it. It's just trying to get through the menus and trying to figure out what tab it is it's under and what I'm selecting.
It is the Destiny experience of just like, why is this so hard? Like, why is it just so hard to like crack the shell on this thing to get to the meat inside? It doesn't have to be this hard. So I don't know. They're talking about a lot of stuff that's coming, this time next year, and we're kind of doing the rest of the episodes leading up to that point. So we'll see, but I feel like even the kind of the most hardcore Destiny fans are starting to kind of lose patience with a lot of this. So,
yeah, which sucks because there is fun in there.
Yeah, it's like one of the best feeling shooters that I've ever played, and it's so fun to get together with your friends and do challenging stuff in this game that can be pretty hard. It just, there's so much. Getting from point A to point B sometimes has 30 steps when it should just be like, I invited my friends into the game and we're launching this thing and we're in.
Dude, that's the other thing. The server's not seeing that, hey, my son is on and I'm on, but it's still showing that one of us isn't active. And it's like, PlayStation says we are. Why can't you see that?
I'm online. We're both in game. Yeah. So I don't know. Fingers crossed. You know, it'll be a couple weeks here before the second episode, which I don't even know the name of. They're doing something different with this episode. I really like what they're doing because they're giving the biggest Destiny complainers exactly what they want, and it's not going to be what they want. Because everybody's always complaining, oh, you release an episode, and I got to wait every week. They call it time gating. Oh, the story is time gated every week, and I got to come back next week just to get the next part. For every act, they're just releasing the entire story all at once. So, like, all 3 weeks of content for the act
Netflix it?
coming all out at the same time. And I cannot wait until all these Destiny fans are like, I blew through it in an afternoon. Now I have nothing to play for 6 weeks. I can't play Bungie. It's going to be really great. Because, like, don't ask for what you don't want. Like, you really don't want this. You really should want to just play a little bit every Tuesday, maybe do a raid every weekend, and then you play other stuff for the week. Now you'll have 6 weeks to play other stuff, and it's going to make you grumpy, and I'm going to be it's going to be very tickling. So,
or maybe that is what they want. Maybe they're tired of coming back once a week to knock out whatever, and they just want to get it all done with.
Honestly, a lot of Destiny fans
Boston,
should
that's
stop
not
playing
your call
Destiny.
to make. You don't speak for everybody.
If only I could, because a lot of Destiny fans should stop playing Destiny because they hate it. It's like Star Wars fans. I love Star Wars. It's my least favorite thing on the planet. You know, that sort of thing.
Star Wars is the dumbest thing that I can sit there and enjoy people complain and cry about things.
Right.
I still haven't even watched. Yeah, it's like I haven't even watched. Crap, I don't even remember what the heck it was called. But the last TV show that came out that got canceled before its second season.
Oh, Acolyte, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't even gotten to that yet. But just watching everybody cry over this, that, and the other thing. It's all good. SJW, blah blah blah, and it's like, well, I can't wait to watch whatever this is.
That's right. Whatever this perfectly fine TV show will probably be. Yeah. So, Destiny Episode 1 kind of ended on a bit of a low note. I don't think it was bad. You know, I've finished seasons before where it's like, oh boy, you just totally missed the mark. This one just kind of landed with a bit of a thud. But I am curious to see. Typically, the season or episode that launches with an expansion is usually the weakest because it's being developed at the same time that a big expansion is. So I have a little bit of higher hopes here for episodes 2 and 3, which we'll check out as they come along. But Destiny 2 continues to be Destiny 2.
What it is, yeah.
It is what it is, I guess, as much as I hate that phrase. Next game here, Caravan SandWitch.
Ooh, nice.
Been playing this the past couple of days here. This was
How's that driving in going?
it's a Moon correctly. I said that my kid and I were very excited to dive into Caravan SandWitch this past week, and Moon corrected me correctly by saying you're excited to drive into this game. I said, "Yep, that was right there." Can't believe I missed it.
You were dead and everything, and you still missed
I know.
it.
Sometimes my
right
dad joke.
there.
My dad joke skills fail me. But so
Depends
far,
on the amount of caffeine.
That's right. So far, I'm really enjoying this. It is. There were some. I will be honest. There were some fair performance issues at the very, very, very beginning of the game. For like maybe the first 5-10 minutes, you kind of start in a space station, and until you get out of it, the camera is having trouble getting around the environment. You can tell the camera's kind of built for these big, open, expansive areas. Whenever the camera butts up against something, it kind of has a tendency to freak out a little bit. But you're only up in space for a handful of minutes, and then you're kind of plopped down on the planet. And your sister disappeared a couple of years ago. You got you suddenly out of the blue got a distress signal from her. It was basically like, hey man, my kind of pad, my future pad sort of alerted to a distress signal. So you're down on the planet trying to figure out what happened. And I like a lot of these games, but a lot of them that I or we have been playing lately have been a lot of like, boy, everybody's real mad at you because you just up and disappeared a couple of years ago without saying goodbye. And that's very much what this game is too. But I feel like it's done pretty well in this game, because in a lot of the other games we've been playing like that, everybody like holds it against the main character forever. In this one, it's smoothed over a lot quicker, which I think is pretty nice. But like we were talking about when we were talking about, I think it was last week during releases, there's no combat, there's no death, it's really just like kind of a puzzle platformer thing where you drive to a question mark on your map in this cool yellow van that you have that controls really well. I think it has kind of a like a loose, kind of bouncy, in a fun way, kind of control to it.
Yeah, it's a buggy van.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's like an old Mitsubishi.
Yeah, exactly. Like it controls in kind of a fun way, but not one of those things where it's uncontrollable and it's all over the road or anything. And a lot of it is, you're kind of going to a bunch of question marks on your map. I've played this for maybe 2 hours. You go to question marks on your map, you check it out, you do maybe an environmental puzzle or two, you gather some scrap that you can take back to your kind of home base and build a bunch of stuff, or upgrade a bunch of your things and stuff like that. The thing I was kind of surprised about is one of the big selling points was like, oh, there's no timers. Like, none of these missions are on a timer. Not exactly true, because when you go to finish one chapter and move on to the next one, the game says, hey, any timed missions that you haven't yet completed are going to disappear, because while you're like fixing the van or building something or refurbing something, those people are just going to go on with their lives. So like, if you didn't do the mission that you wanted to do, that they're just going to move on to something else, and that mission is going to go away. And thankfully, when you have that window pop up, it'll just have a list of missions that are going to go away. It'll give you a chance to say like, oh, I don't care about those, keep moving on, or, oh wait, I actually want to go do those, and I'll help those people out and come back. So I thought that was cool. Like, I know what they're saying. It's not like when you start a mission, it's like 2 hours, go, 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 go. But you do have missions that are, when you move over to like the next day or the next couple of days in game, those things are gonna go away. But gotcha. I appreciate them at least saying like, these missions are going to go away. When because in any of these games, I'm going to do everything as it comes up. So when I got to that point, the game was like, you have none of these missions you have no more timed missions. I was like, cool, great, let's go. Also appreciate a game when you go to quit, they're like, don't worry, your data is all saved, you're good. It's like, thank you. I need more games to say like,
save when you quit.
Yeah,
like,
save
it's
and
not
quit.
hard.
Like, I want you to save then. That would be great. So far, really enjoying this a lot. The writing has been really clever. The music is so good. And I really like, this game has such a unique style to it, that feels really great. This town that you're in feels really lived in. There's like a corporation that abandoned the planet like 40 years ago. You're still kind of cleaning up all of their technology that's causing issues. So like, it has a lot of stuff that I really love in it so far. And I'm enjoying playing it quite a bit so far. And I think so far a lot of the puzzles have been really good. There's a bunch of stuff in the environment that thankfully the game has been telling me like, hey, you need like a grappling hook to open this door, or you need another tool to go down zip lines, or things like that. So nice to see that I like when games like this are very clear about like, you don't have the thing to open this yet, you come back to this place later. It's like, great, I don't have to beat my head on a puzzle I can't solve yet. So it's cool. I'm hoping to put more time into it this week. But that's Caravan at SandWitch. Sand and then WITCH. Not like a thing you eat.
But it could be.
Yeah. My last game here this week, Astrobot. Played a bunch of this. I'm now up to the last galaxy. I think it's the last galaxy. I'm not entirely sure. Okay. But I have beaten a bunch of additional bosses. I really liked snake boss. I thought that one was really cool. It was a very neat boss to have it kind of going in and out of the environment a lot, doing a lot of dodging around the boss itself. And then you got to like uppercut a snake, which is really great.
And some really cool stuff with size too.
Yeah, this is
just watching the video you have.
This is one of my favorite levels in the game so far, is where you get mouse powers and you can shrink down. You can kind of like get bigger and smaller throughout this level. There aren't a ton of levels in this game, which is fine because I don't need this to be like a 60-hour platforming game. But the number of times I go into a level and I'm like, oh, cool, I get a new power. It's a mouse. And you like pull the L2 and it does something. And the number of times I'm like, man, that's really cool. Like that happens almost every level. And if you're not getting a new power, a lot of times you're revisiting a power you had before in a brand new way. One of my favorite powers in this game easily has been the power to stop time. You get to stop time for a couple of seconds. So number of times that you have like a cool set of platforms that fly out of nowhere, you have to stop it just in time to kind of skip over them really quickly to get to another area. This game is really, really cool, really creative in so many cool ways. One of the things I forgot to talk about last week that I really like is every level has a number of bots to rescue. Some of them are like PlayStation character bots. Some of them are just, they look like Astrobot itself. And then there are a bunch of puzzle pieces. Sometimes there's an extra exit that leads to like a warp world has much harder levels in them.
Yeah.
One thing that I really like, when you clear a level and then you go back in, you actually pay 200 coins to unlock this bird that can follow you around and help, and basically like give you hints to say like, hey, there's gonna be something over this way. Like there's gonna be it's gonna be one of these things, but maybe go solve a puzzle over here and you'll get something that maybe you'll be interested in. I like that a lot because half of the time you're gonna finish a level and you've found everything because you've looked in every nook and cranny. And there have been some levels where I'm like, I felt like I did pretty well. You found one bot and no puzzle pieces. And it's like, oh, cool. Okay, I don't know where the rest of those things would be. And I like that, I talked about this with Dredge. I don't want to go to a bunch of YouTube videos to find out where all the bots are hidden in this and have all, what's up, it's your boy, Astrobot Fan 420. Like I don't wanna watch that. Like Sony always pushes the thing in the dashboard.
The hint system.
The hint system. Which this game does, and it's really good, but I'd rather not rely on that stuff if there is a mechanism inside of the game that I can use to solve those problems. So I really appreciate that they have something
also
in
it
the
just
game.
Helps to not break the immersion too.
Yeah, like I'd rather and like 200 coins is nothing because like you're getting coins nonstop in this game. So it's kind of fun to have like a little bit of a helper of like, I just need to find, I have no idea where I'm even supposed to begin to look for some of this stuff. And usually it's like, oh, I just never went down this one like area that I didn't even know was an option. So it's been super cool. The chameleon boss I thought was okay. Bosses are a little bit more punitive than the normal game itself. So if you have to beat all of the phases of the boss in one go. And thankfully, unlike the normal game, you have 3 lives to do it. As soon as you land on the boss platform, you get 2 additional lives. And that one was harder than I was expecting it to be. Not impossible. It was more like, hey, dummy, maybe you should actually just like take a second and not rush through these boss phases because you're clearly not supposed to. And I have really enjoyed a lot of the additional levels that are considerably harder than the main levels themselves. Because if you just go through the main levels by themselves, you're gonna have a pretty easy time. But like the black hole world is quite a bit harder, and if you do some minor spoiler on each one of the maps, there are hidden levels. I'm not gonna say what you need to do to discover them, but on each one of the maps there are one of the PlayStation symbols, so like square, triangle, X. When you find one of those and complete a level, it will unlock 4 additional levels that are kind of themed around one of the symbols. Those ones tend to be really pretty challenging because they don't have any checkpoints, and it reminds me a lot of Super Mario Sunshine. Remember those levels where they'd take away the jetpack, and it was like, this is like a one-shot platforming level. It reminds me a lot of those, of like, it's going to be themed around one specific thing, where it's like, oh, you're going to be dodging electric panels on these spinning platforms, something like that.
We've taken away one of your abilities to make it just a little bit more challenging.
Exactly, like stuff like that. So those are quite a bit more difficult. I have done a couple more. So I talked about it last week, where you beat a boss and unlocks essentially a PlayStation level. So it's themed around a famous PlayStation game. The one that I played 2 this week. One of them was really, really, really clever. But where you're kind of tilting the level by tilting your controller. That was really cool. The other one I played, I really didn't like that much overall. I will spoil it a little bit, though. You can figure it out pretty quickly what it is, because the level of the name of the level is called Dude Rating, which I thought was really great. And then they just give Astrobot a gun, which is pretty good. That
Why
level.
not 2?
What's that?
Is this why not 2?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're saving that for Astrobot 2, maybe.
Also, it's a game by an American company. Super Why Not 2?
Yeah. No, this is a Japanese game.
Shh. Sony's an American company now.
That's right. That's right. But that was probably one of the weaker levels, I think, which was kind of a bummer. It wasn't bad by any stretch, but like the other ones I thought were way stronger. The second one especially is really, really, really good, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, because I'd like Team Sobi to make one of those games, because I think they did a really great one of those, and I'd like another team to take a crack at one of those.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. No, I
believe.
Go ahead.
I believe if you're talking about the thing that we're hinting around, what the level's based on. I'm pretty sure Embracer owns that now. So good luck.
No, that was Sony Santa Monica. Wink.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'd like to see a Sobi make one of those. But I'm sure that you have heard people talk about this on any other gaming podcast you're listening to, and how much this game is just a joy to play, and I'm just grinning like a doofus every time I'm playing this game. And yeah, that is this game, and it's really good. Like, if you're just looking for a really good game that isn't overstaying its welcome, and if you're looking for something that kind of can get a bit more difficult, but never impossibly difficult, this is just a really great game. I'm having a blast with it, and it's really creative, and it's really just fantastic to play. And I'm excited to, even if there wasn't a platinum, I would just go get all the bots, and I'd collect all the puzzle pieces and unlock all this stuff, because it's just fun in a platformer to unlock all that stuff. It's been really great. I love it. Astrobot is super good, and if you have the opportunity to play it, hopefully you will. I'm hoping. I understand why Astro's Playroom didn't come to PC. I really hope this comes to PC at some point, because this game is really, is really fantastic. So that's Astrobot. It's all in games I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
All right, I will be right back.
All right. I'm going to set more of
Pull
this
up
stuff.
show notes. There we go. Yeah, I already finished mine. It's pretty good.
Dang. Okay. All right, let's see if there's any new news stories here at the last moment. I feel like that's been a little bit of this year, sort of like, oh, ha ha ha, just kidding. Big story broke. Yeah, nothing. Also, the number of people that are like, the platinum trophy on Astrobot says something like, you know, we'll see you in Astro's next adventure or whatever. People are like, they're making Astrobot 2! And it's like, bro, no. Like, that's not like a smoking gun.
Surely it is. It must be.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Those are the same people that believe that Easter eggs in Disney movies mean they share the same universe. No. It's just fun.
It's not worth talking about it on the show, but did you see the Days Gone former studio chief losing his shit?
It's been so funny because, like, literally everybody else, like, I just unlocked Kiryu from the Yakuza games. I just unlocked him in the game, and, like, RGG has been like, thank you so much for having us in the game. It's been such an honor. Like, we love Astrobot. And, like, this one sour motherfucker over there is just like, I can't believe...
Who's not even with the studio anymore.
The studio kicked him out.
Yeah.
And he's like, they put my game. And it's like, yeah, because they love Days Gone. They're not like, oh, ha ha ha, we hate these games, so we're going to pay them homage in a totally different cute game for kids.
Yeah. They're showing respect to your video game, and your response as the former studio head is to lose your mind about it.
And then to be like, Sony didn't want to make the second one, and, all of this. And it's like, yeah, because you're difficult to work with. Shut up.
They did Deacon wrong. Like, go away. Nobody even remembers his name.
Also, like, yeah, they did Days Gone wrong, but it's had a resurgence that if you would have been cool about it, you maybe could have led into, hey, people really respect Days Gone here a couple of years after its release. It's had a bit of a cult following that kind of continues to grow. Maybe we can do something with that.
I mean, I played a little bit of it, and I couldn't really stay in it after a little bit.
Yeah, and people always said, like, you gotta stick with it, and at some point it kind of all comes together, but it seems like it came together pretty late in that game.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really proud of Sam Witwer not having a blue check mark next to his name.
Yeah.
I'm just checking to see if he posted anything about the Deacon representation.
Right.
Because Sam Witwer is a badass.
Yeah, that's true.
From what I know, at this moment in time.
That's right.
Hashtag.
If he's a wrongin' in the future, that's not on us. Yeah. All right, you guys ready to do the next part here?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, James L. Jones died. That's a shame.
That's a real bummer. Yeah. I didn't realize he was that old.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
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 Oh, wait. What?
What?
Sam
I'm waiting.
Witwer responded with "Let's go," and then dig at the screenshot of Deacon and his bike.
Great.
So he was fine with it.
Yep. The guy who played the character was fine.
It's a love letter to PlayStation. If you're in there, it's a love letter to your game.
Uh-huh.
You should be flattered. No one had to put Days Gone into Astrobot. Everyone would have been like, yeah, Days Gone doesn't go in there. We're fine.
Could have just forgotten about it like everybody else.
Yeah. All right. So it started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of September 16th, 2024. Final Fantasy 16 comes to PC. This version also comes with both of the DLC packs. It's kind of the complete edition here.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see a Final Fantasy in our show notes, I'm like, oh, is it 7 finally coming to the Xbox? No.
No, not coming to the PC either. I don't know what's going on.
Nope.
So
Nope.
Square Enix is bonkers. I don't know. I understand why it's not
Yeah.
coming to Xbox platforms, but I don't understand why.
Because Sony paid them to.
Well, and also Xbox is in the GameCube era at the moment of like I'm not porting stuff to the Xbox. That's will get me no money. So
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate. That's like the unfortunate reality of the platform at the moment. PS5 isn't doing that much better right now either. So nobody's doing that well. So check the news stories for more. Grinding my teeth. Anyways, that's Final Fantasy 16. It has like DLSS and other 4-letter acronyms and a bunch of ultra widescreen frame uncapped. It has all that stuff that PC gamers really care about.
Yeah.
Stop yelling about FOV. Leave me alone. Next game up that's coming up here. I've been watching this for years. I'm super excited. It's finally out. The Plucky Squire comes out PS5, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is PS Plus day and date. I don't know which tier. I don't really care. This is a game I've been looking at for a while because...
Wait, is this... Yeah, this is the jump in and out of the box game.
Yeah, because when they originally showed it, it was just this like 2D kind of top-down isometric-y sort of... You're in like a cartoon book thing, and then the next trailer they released after that was like, oh yeah, and also you can leave the book and walk around the book and the kids' room and do puzzles and exploration there. And I was like, oh my god. I was already really excited, but geez, now you get to do all this other cool stuff. Like, it looks so cool.
Wishlisted.
Yeah, I was ready to buy this, so like I'm even more excited that this is on PS Plus. This looks really great. Devolver is publishing this. If you are a fan of Devolver stuff, they're gonna keep doing this. I'm super pumped about this. If you haven't seen a trailer for Plucky Squire, you really just need to go watch. They put out an official gameplay trailer about 2 weeks ago. If you're watching the stream or the video version, that's what we're watching here right now, and you can see them kind of jumping in and out of stuff in the environment and solving puzzles and stuff. It looks really cool. So hopefully I'll have time to talk about that next week in my deluge of 2024 games that will seemingly never stop. But it's an embarrassment of riches, which is okay. Next up here, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which is not the game that just came out, was my big. That's Outlaw or Outlaws, whatever. That's Outlaws, coming out PS4 and Xbox One. So that's coming out on the previous gen consoles. So if you still have not yet played that and you don't have either in the consoles,
we played the current. Okay.
Yeah. Also, that was also
confused.
my confusion. I'm like, what are we talking about? So yeah, that came out on. It looks fine on the previous gen consoles. So,
EA releases a previous gen version of Jedi Survivor just in time for the news.
Yes. Really EA is really killing it.
Good timing.
Yeah. Next game, also another one I've been keeping an eye on for what feels like 10 years here. UFO 50 is allegedly finally coming out this week. If you haven't seen this is it's headed up by the guy who made Spelunky, and a bunch of other developers are working with him as well. They essentially wanted to make Action 52, which is one of those like infamous 52 game collections, but all the games are kind of garbage. But your aunt or uncle bought them because it's like I'm not going to get the Mario game you wanted. I'm going to get them 52 games. That's a way better value. But they're trying to make that, but all of the 50 games are actually good. And what they talked about in, I think it was Day of the Devs this past year, they were talking about the games are going to be loosely tied together as having come out for this fictional console. So the games are kind of going to get bigger and more complex as time goes on, but they're going to have references to other ones. They're going to have sequels to games that came out earlier in the console's life. So it seems really neat. And I've been excited to to play it for quite a while, and I'm really excited to play it. Also, really surprised it's not getting a console release day one, but hopefully that will happen here at some point. So maybe I'll be able to talk about that next week as well. Pray for me and my schedule. That's UFO 50. Next up is Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. DRDR is coming out PS5, Series consoles, and PC. Looks like it's largely the same game. Kind of put a coat of paint on it here. Did some quality of life stuff. Auto saves this time, and they say various other quality of life features. So curious to see what that's going to be, because I think for me a lot of the appeal of the original game was the friction. And
have they removed the roguelike elements entirely from the game?
I don't believe so, because that was everyone's first question, is like, oh, okay, if you're going back to this game that was sort of pandered for being misunderstood when it came out, and it's very small font size, don't forget, are you going to remove the thing that you have removed in the other games? Apparently at this point the answer is no, but we will see, because I'm not entirely sure I believe them.
I'm just saying that at some point when it hits Game Pass, maybe we have a We Roguelike It situation on our hands.
It's a great. We've had it in our We Roguelike It list for a really long time, and sort of waiting to see what was going to happen, and it's happening, baby. So curious to see. The Lollipop Chainsaw remaster that just came out has been largely and justifiably panned for just being overall incredibly bad. So I'm hoping this isn't a repeat of that. So also, I just saw the URL here, deadrising.com/1. I mean, yeah, it's the first Dead Rising game, sure, okay. Why not? Oh boy. God of War Ragnarok is our next game here, coming out on PC. This has all the stuff you want. We talked about buzzwords before, unlocked frame rates, DLSS, and all the other LSSs, or the FXS and all of those, whatever they are. You know what I'm talking about, all the fellow PC game nerds, am I right? Ultra widescreen support, all that big stuff. If you played the first one and you liked it, you'll probably like this one too. I think Nimp and I, when we played it, I think we weren't as glowing about this one as we were the first one, but it's still a really good game.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's not worth playing.
Right.
Because it does add quite a bit of lore and story, but yeah, especially and I think for me too, it was also the fact that I literally the week before just got done platinuming 2018 to prepare for this game, so
right.
I was a little God of War.
You got yourself God of War out.
Yeah. Also, I just saw that this has the Valhalla DLC in as well, that roguelike mode, which is actually really good. I was pretty impressed by that overall. So
yeah,
check it out. The game's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd still recommend it. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, it still ended up on our top 10 list for last year, so can't be all that bad. Next game here, Frostpunk 2 comes out on PC. This is coming out on PC Game Pass day and date. It's largely looks like an improved version of the first one. They said the age of steam has passed and now oil leads the way. But, stuff is still really dark and super sad and depressing because it's Frostpunk.
So they're making the same mistakes again. Good to know.
Yeah. The cyclical nature of humanity.
The wheel weaves as the wheel wills.
That's right. I don't know. This looks neat. I never played the first one because everyone's like, "Oh, it's a super depressing city builder." And I was like, "No, why? No, I don't want to play that. That sounds super depressing." So looks like this is kind of more of the same. So sure, the first one seemed like it was really good, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Last game here we have Home Safety Hotline comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and Switch. This is that game that came out on PC, I think it was last year, where people call in with weird haunted things or cursed things that are happening in their home, and you have to man the hotline to help them with that. I have always really wanted to play this because I think it sounds really interesting. People seem to really like it. I also, when I saw this, I also remembered the accessibility options they have for various phobias. So like the arachnophobia, when you pull up the page for spiders, instead of showing a picture of a spider, it just shows the broken image icon from like early Internet Explorer.
Ripped paper and
yeah, like the ripped piece of paper. And I'm like, okay, that's really good. I think you kind of got what you got here. So sort of surprised that this is coming out on PC or on consoles, because it seemed like it was a very mouse driven sort of thing. So curious to see how this is going to work on consoles here. But Home Safety Hotline, people that played it either early this year or late last year seem to really, really like it. So check that out. We do have PS Plus games just got announced here, which is actually a pretty interesting lineup. We talked about Plucky Squire already. Under the Waves, which a friend of the show, Chuck, mentioned that it was one of his favorite games of last year. I think he said that on Blue Sky. Night in the Woods, which is a game I've always wanted to play. Chernobylite, Wildcard Football, Space Engineers, Road 96, Ben 10, Far Cry 5. And then PS Plus Premium only, you get Pistol Whip for the PSVR 2. Secret Agent Clank, which I think was the PSP.
Was that PSP game?
Yeah, that was a PSP Clank game. Sky Gunner, which is a very, very rare game, which is nice to see them come out. And Mr. Mosquito.
Mr. Mosquito?
For the PS2. Famous Mr. Mosquito. So, interesting thing there. All right, let's move on to news stories. $700.
Yeah.
PS5 Pro announced Mark Cerny's
The show notes
dulcet
are
tones
fantastic, by the way.
came out. Now, the PS5 lead architect came out to announce the PS5 Pro, and it's $700 US.
Remember when I said I might be interested in a PS Pro if the price is reasonable?
Yeah, how'd that go?
Guess what? It ain't reasonable.
I was also ready to throw up some cash to maybe stretch to $600 if the improvements were clear enough. Here.
No. The way these work is you release a Pro for the same price as the original console,
right, exactly.
And the original console goes down in price.
But I was ready to fork over some cash, as my PS5 is my daily driver. I was ready to say, all right, if the improvements are as big as they were when you moved from the PS4 to the PS4 Pro, I could maybe justify the cost as the thing that I'm playing each and every day.
Yeah.
But the majority of the footage they showed here was from PS5 launch games. And how much better Ratchet and Clank... I don't care. They didn't announce any brand new games.
Yeah.
They, like, almost
and even with the old games that they were showing, there wasn't a huge difference.
I can't tell the difference. Even, like, they made the mortal sin of... saying like, well, PS5 Pro games look significantly better. And of course it's on a stream, so you can't tell, which is fine.
Yeah, and it's mostly frame rates. Like improving frame rate for quality modes is what I understand.
Well,
I don't see frame rates anyway.
Well, a lot of what they were talking about is like some of the stuff is frame rates, which we'll get to in a second. But like a lot of the stuff they were talking about with like character detail and like environmental detail and stuff, they didn't release 4K screenshots of the difference between the two when this went live. So I can't tell the difference in a badly compressed 1080p video. And then you launch and say, oh, also, LOL, it's $700 without a disk drive and without a stand. So go screw yourself. Like,
hey. Maybe they can finally get those puddles they always wanted in Spider-Man.
That's right. Right. So, like, there was a really interesting stat in here that Mark Cerny said, which is you know, how most games go nowadays is there's a graphics mode and there's a performance mode. And 75% of people go for the performance mode over the graphics mode. I thought that was actually a really interesting stat, because the number of people out here that are like yawning about, oh, it's more cinematic at 30 frames, which, like, shut up. I'm surprised the 75% was so huge. I mean,
it is, because it's all of these games are framey as hell when they're on like graphics mode.
Right, it's like 30 frames max, and that sucks.
I did hear a couple other places bring up that performance mode also seems to be the default.
Yes,
for the system.
Well, it depends
and it's usually
on what
the most stable.
On PS5, it depends on what you set in your system preferences. Most people don't realize.
Out of the gate, though, I think a lot of places were saying that the default is set to performance mode over quality mode, so that could be why the numbers are so high.
So, like,
it's whatever.
Like the rumors said, they're really focusing on getting upscaling, what they're calling PSSR, which is pisser, Sony, with their AI-driven upscaling, which, another side tangent, this is the normal AI upscaling. This is the machine learning AI upscaling. This is not the generative LLM AI stuff. That's not the bad AI. This is the AI we've been using for like 20 years or so. Like, this
frame
is the
interpolation and stuff like that, where it just adds additional frames in.
Yeah, and you know, doing your kind of upscaling from 1080p or 1440p up to 4K. So when they say this is the AI, it's not the bad AI that steals from artists that can't feed themselves. The main feature of this is them saying, like, all right, we want to give you the 4K and the ray tracing and all of that stuff at the higher frame rates. And that's what the big draw behind this is, not only PSSR, but a larger, more powerful GPU. And it has a larger SSD in it and whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, you can't get away from this being $700.
I can't see this. I can't tell the difference, guys.
There isn't.
The majority of the stuff that they show in even in the stream is sort of like, okay, maybe there are a couple more blades of grass. Like, I don't. When you looked, we talked about, you know, when the PS4 went to the PS4 Pro, you got 4K and you got HDR. Those are,
and most importantly in their upgrade, you got rid of the PlayStation 4 fan.
Right. Yes, you got rid of the, like, they fixed the cooling and everything. So, like, that was a big enough upgrade that you're like, all right, even if it was significantly more, you could understand the upgrade. That was really clear. But this, I understand that the cost of components is still not coming down after COVID. You can blame capitalism, don't blame my wallet. But, like, I think this is an even bigger debacle than the PS3's launch. Because
like this, feels like like it's our classic phrase of this is Sony gonna Sony.
Yeah,
and it feels like Sony just Sony'd.
Because, like, when you looked at the PS3 launch and they showed all the games and showed all the footage, you're like, yeah, that looks better than the PS2. Okay, how many dollars? That's too much. And, like, I am really sensitive to frame rate, and I really like having, you know, kind of the all the bells and whistles coming out of my console if possible. I also have a really hard time telling the difference between Ratchet and Clank on the left and Ratchet and Clank on the right for a game that already looked really good at the PS5 launch. It's probably worth breaking that down for a second. Like, you are sensitive to frame rate, but you are sensitive to unstable frame rates, it feels like. And you are insensitive to hitching kind of thing. And the older I get, the less I can handle 30 frames. In, like, driving games or action games or things like that. If it's like a turn-based RPG, 30 frames is going to be largely fine. But, like, of course I want, you know, a bunch of games that look really great at the highest frame rate I can. I have a TV, but I was already playing God of War Ragnarok upscaled at 4K at 120 frames a second on my launch PS5. Like, this isn't offering me anything that I feel like I don't have already, and this isn't going to get new consumers in to say, like, well, this is the time to buy a PS5 now that the second one is out for way more money.
Like, okay, let's before we do a final summation, explain what it doesn't come with, please, Boston.
A disk drive or a stand.
Which the disk drive by itself is $80.
Correct. And the stand is, I think, 30,
25, 30,
something like that.
So you're looking at another 120, let's say,
Right.
on the low side.
Well, but Moon, physical's dead.
I mean, I think it was...
According to them, I'm the only one who still buys physical discs.
The ironic thing is I all digital on my Xbox. All of my Sony games are physical. I have a stack right here of PlayStation 4 games that I think it was
Daniel Ahmad. It was either Daniel Ahmad or Matt Piscatella on social media this week. I don't remember which one. But they said that 80% of sales on Sony platforms over the last couple of years have been digital only. So, like, that's a huge segment of the market, but that still is, like we've been banging the drum on forever. Not everywhere has great bandwidth. Not everywhere. A lot of places still have bandwidth caps. A lot of places don't have X, Y, or Z. So it's just...
There's a fair few places where you cannot get, like, a Sony Online account.
Right.
Yeah.
We learned that from Helldivers earlier this year, where it's like, I can buy your game, but now I can't play
in like 56 different countries.
Right. So it's just like, and the list of PS5 Pro enhanced games here at launch is pretty big. It's 13 games long, but none of them are new. Like, it's great that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and, like, Assassin's Creed Shadows...
The Crew Motorfest.
Yeah, the Crew Motorfest. Like, Assassin's Creed Shadows, to be fair, is the only one there that hasn't come out yet, which is great that it's PS5 Pro enhanced. It should be. But, like, I've already played Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man 2 and Horizon Forbidden West and like, these are all huge games I've already played, and if I haven't, they're on the list because they're on PS Plus. Like, these aren't... I need you to, like, come out and say, all right, here's a brand new game that the best experience is only on PS5 Pro.
Yeah, not a couple launch games and something that came out in the last year.
And Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't...
Well,
Dragon's Dogma 2's performance is a bigger problem.
Yeah, that's the other issue I have, because they're, like, places like Nextlander, places like Remap. We're talking about how, if maybe Star Wars Outlaws had come out for a PS5 Pro or Dragon's Dogma had come out for like a PS5 Pro, that would fix the issues. Right. That's not a current console issue. That is they released garbage, and garbage is what you're playing.
It's an optimization
This would play
issue.
the exact play the exact same way if you were on a Pro or not, because they just gave you crap and you bought it.
Dragon's Dogma 2
I still haven't bought Outlaws yet.
Right.
Because it's still being patched and it's still breaking people who are playing the game.
It's not $40 yet either. And like Dragon's Dogma 2 is CPU bound. This isn't going to fix that problem.
No.
Like, they made the GPU bigger, and it seems like they gave a little bit more RAM based on some developer stuff. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just...
And then the other problem was they were talking about how this is going to bridge the gap between performance and quality mode. No, it doesn't, because later on you read that they have 3 different modes now.
Yeah. Like, and it's just
what the hell are you doing?
And it's like, if developers aren't optimizing stuff to take advantage of the PS5 already, which PS5 is an incredibly powerful console, just like the Series X is, then giving more power to this, like, isn't really going to solve the problem. So it's just,
and that's the biggest issue that I've had when it keeps getting brought up about how it's like, we need pro versions of the Xbox and the PlayStation. No, we don't.
Right.
People are still just now getting their hands on current gen.
Right.
And you can't convince me that we have a ton of games that are pushing either one of those consoles to their fullest.
Right. And, like, speaking of Remap, Patrick Klepek made a really good point. I think it was on Twitter this week. saying that, like, you know, this seems, Sony didn't go that far to say it, but this maybe seems like this is their kind of like expensive phone. They're trying to like catch the expensive phone,
annual.
like the annual purchaser for phones. They always have the latest smartwatch. Like, they're just gonna buy a PS5 Pro.
This isn't for us.
Right, it's for the people that have more money than sense, saying like, well, of course I have the Pro. It's $700. I gotta have the latest, hottest thing.
It's the newest thing.
Well, exactly, because you cannot convince me right now that the PlayStation 5 Pro is a premium thing that I'm buying, because like we said, it doesn't come with a disc reader. It doesn't come with a GD stand. This is not premium packaging. This is trying to screw me over on price.
No, that's the thing. It is a premium package because they wrote the word Pro on it.
Yeah, it's like
their market. I agree with you. I don't think it is premium because it doesn't have the bells and whistles, but it is marketed as a premium. That's
the
what
word you have to use here is luxury. It is a luxury product. It is not a premium product. And that is really the, like, look, I am exactly the market for this console with someone who has a very nice TV that supports every single feature except for 3D, because I live in the modern era. But, like, this should be the thing where I'm like, yep, I'm pre-ordering this. I'm tossing out my old PS5. It's garbage, whatever. There's no... As someone who is a PlayStation fan and is primed for this console, there's no way on the face of the planet that this is at all worth anywhere close to $700.
So, I mean, part of this is like you said, Patrick pointed out, this is for the people with more money than sense. Like, this is for the must-have, the new hotness kind of thing.
People buying the most expensive iPhone every year.
Yeah, it's not even a good entry point for someone like me who really wants a PlayStation 5 and doesn't have the finances for it. If I don't have the finances for a PlayStation 5, I certainly don't for a PS5 Pro.
Exactly.
Considering I would like a disc drive with it. I think this ties into a little bit of everything, but like you said, Boston, capitalism is run rampant right now.
Yeah.
Like, inflation is quote unquote gone down, but the cost of living has increased like 60,000% in the past 5 years, and wages have not kept up to match with it because that's not what things happen.
Right.
Regular consumers are being drained of every single potential resource they have.
Right.
For things like groceries.
Right.
And what I'm not hearing enough from the critic sphere of video games is they all talk about, like, games like Concord, for example. Whatever, it's a good game, it's a bad game, it's getting closed down. That doesn't make a difference for me. Their mistake was charging for it. If you want to make that type of game, it needs to be free to play. But at the same time, video games are a luxury. They are a luxury item by default. This is not something any of us need, quote unquote.
It's
we
our
don't
hobby.
need video games. And as the belts get tightened everywhere else in our lives, like we've spoken on the show, my car insurance tripled because of a mistake by the manufacturer, which costs me more money all the time.
Right.
It's not a simple solution because I'm still paying off the car, so therefore I can't. If I get rid of the car, I end up upside down on car payments. For those
on
of you
top
don't
of
know,
adding another car payment for the new vehicle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So, go Google upside down on payments if you don't know what it means. But all of the money is being squeezed out of us in every single aspect that it can, and this is why games are not hitting like they used to hit. Like, there's more selection than ever, and people are selecting the more surefire bets because that is a psychological thing that humans do. But also, I don't have the money to buy 7 video games every year, 7 a year, to experiment and see if I like them or not. And if I buy something that I don't like, that's a kick in the teeth for me because that's a game that I bought that I don't like that I could have liked a different game. I don't have the finances to experiment like that anymore. Nobody does.
And also, talking about the elephant in the room, if you have the $700 for this, why wouldn't you just put that $700 and a little bit more into building a gaming PC?
Exactly. That was my next thing, where it's like, okay, if we're going diskless now, and this is, like a lot of contributors have been saying, oh, so this is kind of giving you a peek into what the PS6 will end up looking like. If PS6 is diskless, I'm not buying it. I'm just gonna mod my PC and
I
buy
don't
a new
even
one.
want to think about a PS6. I don't even want to think about a PS5 Pro. Like, we are way too early.
And
Like,
that's my problem. It's like everyone except for us seems to be super adamant. It's like, no, this needs to happen. It's like, guys, like, people are just now getting these.
yeah.
I think people were super adamant about it until they saw what Sony has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I think the smartest thing Microsoft does at this point is if you had plans for a mid-stage upgrade, you cancel those plans right now.
The smartest thing Microsoft does is they can the Series S. That's the thing they do.
The problem is the Series S is a very good. I think they can the rules for Series S.
If you want to
and
can the
X,
rules, that's your second best option. But
I can't think they can can the S, because the S is a very good entryway. Like, I can't remember who it was, but I was listening to people talk about the release of the college football game. First college football game in like 15
runaway
years.
hit.
And literally a bunch of people who weren't in the video game market went out and bought a Series S because it's the cheapest and it can run the new game.
Yep.
Like, and literally sold out on, like, not on shelves in many different cities because the people who wanted the college football game got the college football game.
Yeah. This whole story is just bananas. And I just, like we said before, when the PS4 Pro got announced, I think many people were saying, like, oh, thank God. Like, the PS4 is just struggling. Like, it could use a bit more power.
That's the difference. PS4 had been out for, what, 6 years?
It had been a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. And everyone, like, we could all feel it and we could all see it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm sure you were about to say, there was a noticeable difference between that.
Yep.
But there isn't now.
And
like,
also,
at all. Like, this is so unwarranted.
Sony, this was your one chance to redesign what the PS5 looked like, and you gave it more lines.
Oh yeah, it's got the Adidas logo.
It came
now.
out. It's 4 years old, dude.
It came out in 2020.
PS5 is 4 years old.
That's why I keep reminding everyone. This isn't an old. We're not that far into this generation.
No.
And then COVID happened, which made it even harder for anyone to get into this generation. That's why I keep saying it's only been a year since consoles have been readily available for people to get a hold of without trying to go through a stupid scalper.
So now here's the thing that I think is going to be the most interesting. Is that Sony has handed the win over to Nintendo. Because Nintendo is going to come out, I'm going to say
They're
next
going to talk
next
about the
month.
Switch 2 this year.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to put out a prediction here. I'm going to say that Nintendo announces the Switch 2, whatever it's going to be called, next month. It's going to be $400, and people are going to be like, great, give me one of them. It's $300 less than that dumb thing.
It's got PS2 graphics. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
If it's another handheld, and you can do backwards compatibility, which all the rumors say you'll be able to, that's slam dunk.
I mean,
you guys remember UMD's Switch 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the biggest thing with Nintendo, though, is, and I don't mean any beef with Sony when I say this, their games are quality games. I go back to 2008 when or 20, whatever it was, when God of War last came out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Numbered 1 and 2 on my Game of the Year list were 2 Sony games, and it was God of War and it was Spider-Man.
Right.
The games are fantastic. They are of a kind,
For sure.
And Nintendo, regardless of what anybody else puts on their systems, which can be range from amazing to garbage, depending on what game it is, Nintendo make amazing games. Everything that Nintendo makes is a gold mine.
It's pretty rare for them to put out bad stuff.
I mean, I am not a huge fan of both the Breath of the Wild games. Like, I enjoy them because they're Zelda, but I don't like the mechanics and all the systems in them. But if they come out with Switch 2, and it's like, oh, hey, guess what? And we have, PS3, graphic style of Ocarina of Time. You're damn right. I'm day one, day and date with buying.
Especially at almost half the price of the other guy. Like, yeah, it's a very much like a PS3 360, where it's like, thank God they announced it first. All right, our thing's way cheaper. That's all you need to know. See you later. Like, just.
Yeah.
And Nintendo is still one of the few that's still just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, it feels like, and they're just like, okay, yeah, let's make it a handheld this time. Whatever, who cares?
Yeah. Anyways, Steam Decks are on sale, just in case you were curious. All right, we got to
Yeah,
move on
that's
because
gonna be tempted.
this is like the news story of the week, but we're running super long here. We got 2 more news stories. Xbox lays off 650 more employees.
Hey, at least this is corporate and supporting functions.
Yeah, at least
It doesn't
if we're
make it
gonna,
any better,
if,
but
at least if we're going to ruin people's lives for bad management, at least, thankfully, Phil Spencer said we're not delaying or canceling any games. Thank God.
yeah.
It's really great. Good job, buddy. You continue to fail. This company that you told you're doing what you told the FTC you weren't going to do. Good job.
Yep.
So,
And who all knew they were going to do it anyway?
Everybody.
pretty
will.
much everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's just such a bummer. I don't know what else to say. Last news story here is probably the most surprising news story we've had this year, even after the PS5 Pro. Annapurna Interactive quits. I didn't miss a word there. All of them left, all at the same time. So, if you didn't know, Annapurna Pictures is the parent company. Annapurna Interactive was their kind of video game publishing arm. They still weren't really getting into development themselves, but they were doing a lot more close partnership ties with developers to say, all right, we're not only going to like fund the publishing and the marketing and that stuff, but we'll help fund the actual game itself. Except for one notable case that we just talked about a couple weeks ago, which we'll get to here in a minute. But there's always been friction between Pictures and Interactive, where Interactive has wanted to spin off into its own company for a while because they're very clearly doing something different here than the Pictures was, most notably putting things out. And Megan Ellison, who's the head of Annapurna Pictures, has basically left the bargaining table and said, like, no, we're not really interested in doing any of that. I don't really care.
Billionaire's daughter, I believe.
Yeah, billionaire, that Megan Ellison. And it seems like the final nail in the coffin was a little twist here on the news story we talked about recently that I didn't realize, that when Remedy signed a deal with Annapurna, they signed it with Annapurna Pictures, not Interactive. So it seems like Interactive was just like, oh, really, huh? Okay, well, bye. And then everyone left all at the same time, which is incredible.
So, from what I understand, it's only a team of about 20, 25 people, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's how small that company was, which is wild.
I mean, it's interesting though because it paints a picture of a publishing arm that's literally just that's what they do. They don't make games; they publish them. Like they sign the deals and they publish
them. They
them.
were good at what they did too.
They were very, very good at what they did.
Yeah,
like they had a lot of big names coming out of that machine.
I mean, in this article,
the
3 big ones they say are Stray, What Remains of Edith Finch, which was their first hit, and Outer Wilds. And like all 3 of those they have tons of
Game of the Year containers.
Yeah, and thankfully a bunch of ex Annapurna Interactive employees have come out on social media and said like, hey, look, all the stuff we're working on right now, that's not really a concern. We're going to keep working with them. We're going to keep figuring it out. We're going to work on still publishing that, which I'm hoping, sort of reading between the lines, is that there's some opportunity for them to spin up basically their own other company like they wanted to do and kind of continue to do that work they were doing for other games.
But I'm very curious if they just restaff up Annapurna Interactive, because I believe someone left to go elsewhere. I think it was Epic, and then he's back now.
So Annapurna Pictures hired Hector Sanchez from Epic Games, who was
was with them first, I believe, and then went to Epic, and then is
right,
now back
and then
again.
Came back. It's the whole thing seems like it's this mishmash of like which company is doing the what. Oh, you're getting into this, but you don't want to let us do our own thing.
This feels like a family fight. Like
100%.
That's the vibes this is giving is family fight.
Well,
vibes,
if I can't have it, nobody else can. Why would you spin off into something else?
Exactly. So I'm curious if the existing former staff go off and spin up their own thing to try and do the same thing, because that staff is like people who've been in. You talk about institutional knowledge.
100%.
That staff is institutional knowledge.
It's like Devolver closing down. It's like
wasn't there a report that they were all going over to Sony?
I hadn't seen that, but part of this news story that I want to talk about is like this happened on like what, Thursday or Friday. It was just like bam. Anyways, Annapurna quit. Moving on. It's just like wait, so what? And so like so much of this has been in flux, and there's been so much kind of news happening very suddenly that I'm sure we'll see more in this upcoming week once business starts back up. But
that's what I'm curious about. I'm curious if that staff has a nest egg, and they're going to use that nest egg to basically do this, but for themselves.
Yeah, I hope so.
And then I'm curious if Annapurna themselves just restaff up, like get a bunch of talent back in from elsewhere.
Right.
In which case, if you're telling me that the takeaway from this Fallout is I get two essentially Annapurna Interactive teams finding gold.
Right.
I'll take that.
Right. Yeah. So it's weird. It's also really great to see the solidarity here of just like, no, bye. Like we're all just gonna, like, you can't just not give us what we need. We'll just go figure it out. So credit to them. And hopefully, like we've been talking about, we get kind of the best case scenario, which is like, anyways, we've made a new company. It's over here. Come on over if you need us to do the things we're very good at doing. So, all right. Well, that's all of our news stories this week. We've talked your ear off for long enough here. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Please don't forget our YouTube channel. And get that in the list of links over there. Like, comment, subscribe. Put a video version of everything that goes on the public feed over there. So you can see trailers for games and the releases, see some gameplay footage for what we're talking about, and all sorts of stuff over there. And like, comment, subscribe. That stuff does really help. Go hit us up over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
$5 a month. That's recommended tier. Remember, it's per month, not per week or per episode. So it's the best value in video games. Probably don't sue us. If you can't support us financially, totally understand it. Please hit us up on YouTube. I don't know where to find us on social media anymore because I just don't want to. Please rate and review us on whatever podcatcher you're listening to. Remember, we're on most of them. Because my host makes it pretty easy for me to add stuff as it goes. The reminder here that the Patreon feed is now available on Spotify. So if you have all of that kind of hooked up together, you can find the Patreon feed over on Spotify. You can listen to it over there if that's your podcatcher, of choice. All right. I think that's it. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I can't
right.
find any news. So I don't know where the heck I heard that from then.
I don't know. There's been a lot of
someone say that.
Chatter about what's happening, so not too surprising. All right, Nimp, what are your titles?
I only have a handful. They are The War Within, If Metal Gear Has Taught Me Anything, Suffer Is Correct, and episode... Wait. Yep.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
The War Within, Go and Suffer, Put Some English on Sonic, Gift Card Lottery, and Doctor Who Cleans.
I have Now Go and Suffer, Putting Some English on Sonic, A Boulder of Bones, and The War Within. Most of these are pretty good.
Yeah, but we go from like 4 bangers last week to like 4 pretty good ones this week.
It ebbs and flows. Not everybody can get a gold star.
That's right.
True. You with your Oreos.
Listen to the Outcast for more. Don't chew into the mic. That's the worst. I don't really have. You guys feeling any of them? I don't really have.
War Within was on all of our lists,
Right.
Unless you added it.
I'm okay with that one.
Yeah, we can do that one.
Yeah, I'm good.
Circling it.
I got something.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 882 for September 16th, 2024. The War Within.
Pinball or Warhammer? Pinball or Warhammer?
It's a constant issue of not enough sleep.
All right. Thank you
Oh,
very much,
preach, sister.
everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. Hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.